ɓe mbi fowru si ari naɓi ballijo maɗa tijjo nden sidu ari nden ko andu artanta.
The corruption of Yaya Jammeh in these past 22 years was a brutality in this country.
We've seen what corruption could do to a state. An underdeveloped state with corruption will never ever develop. And human rights will never be observed in that country.
The whole country was victimized. People were killed, people were disappeared, people were shot from their workplace.
They pushed people and tortured people's mind that nobody would work on his own. Everyone was working to please him.
He is a dictator because he dictates everything. The man was everywhere. The man was controlling everywhere.
I attended the very school I am sitting right now, and this was my classroom at that moment. Two of our colleagues, students, their rights has been violated by our own security forces. Here was where I received the information that we are going to go for a demonstration.
I'm Yusuf Ambai, one of the survivors of April 10 and 11, year 2000. I was at school on that day, going to school by not knowing that there will be a student protest on that day.
What I could see was students shouting, running, guns and bullets firing up. So I tried to run away, running for our life. 14 students were killed on that very day, and I was shot in that process at this very, very place where I'm standing.
On my way running, I was shot on the middle of the road here.
I wake up and I find myself being hospitalized. I asked, what am I doing here? They told me that you have been shot just near my spinal cord. They take me to Scotland, Nineville Hospital. My treatment was incomplete because the security service, whenever they get accident or anything happen to them, they used to go to that hospital and they didn't pay their bills. So it's a grand corruption because the government was having all the money to facilitate our treatment because the money was here. The big man was enjoying the money.
Who is the big man?
Yaya Jammeh.
Who is Yaya Jammeh?
Yeah, the former Gambian president.
How did you rate him? What kind of leader was he?
No, he's everything.
Or bad?
More than the word bad.
There was this one great Marabo who is called Serigne Ndigal. President Yaya Jammeh feared the crowd that was behind Serigne Ndigal. In 2007, he passed away. Between 2007 and 2009, his elder son was the one who was in the village in charge of affairs. With full force, an executive order was given according to them. This executive order was what brought the paramilitary in.
ñi dugg da jël yëfi nit fasu nit xaram nit bëy nit nagu nit
door nañ ñu fi ci biir dëkk bi fiñ dëkk la ñu ñaka dooré door yu metti ndax ku ñu jàpp dañ la door ba dootoo man dara ñu tëral la ci pick-up bi door la jëmale makaati ba pare pick-up bi dañ lay teglante juróomi nit juróom benn amul kii tëdd ci kaw kii dañ la door ba sa yaram bi fu nekk di génne deret
dañ ma jàpp di ma door samay yii nii yëpp dafa mujjoon nii di ma jàpp di ma dóor sama papa moom moo doon alkaali fii nii kii nii doon wax ak yéen sama rakki papa la woon sama papa bool keroog ba paraay ñëwee bañ ko ndañee fetal gi fee la dem bëñam yi dem dali ba léegi borom bi moom na ko làqu na léegi nii waaw.
mooy ne maanaam léegi dañ ma not niñ ma notee mooy ci su kaw suma diine bi mu doon dund ci lañ ma notee génn ma sama réew. man ak sama njaboot fekk nag sama benn doomu jigéen boo xam ne mu ngi waroon a toll ci 5 years mu ngi taxaw moom itam dañ koo dóor fekk mu ngi takkoon jëli yu mel ni comme jëli yi sama gannaaw ñu tekki ko daal di koy nangu ci moom daal di jël yaayam a ngi fii ci kër gi.
moo dal lii ci nguuru Yaya Jammeh moo waral lii moo waral lii baat yi sukkandiku da ko def nag tax ñi am doole ji nga xet pom da ko ngëp ci nit ñi da ko doon ci bakkan.
jamono boobu nag fekk na maanaam léegi Gambie moom foofu mënatuñ faa dund léegi nag maanaam ci la nguuru Gambie gi ebal parents yi ak maanaam léegi seen arme ñu ñëw dal ci kaw maanaam nit ñi nekk fii ñu jógee fa nag ñëw Sénégal fii bi ñëwee nag man dama bokkoon ci ñi nga xam ne dama leen dalaloon ndax ñi bañ fay jógee amul kenn koo xam ne am nga dara loo xam ne ni dafa mel ni ku lakkale rek amul dara loo génne sa kër bis boobu dund nañ fi dund boo xam ne ni xëy na comme ni ma waxoon ci suba gi rek maanaam benn nit boo xam ne mën nga ko tënk amut ndax maanaam léegi bu junni journaliste Gambie ñëwoon fii sax maanaam léegi pour laaj lool mënuñoo mën a fexe ba jël affaire boobu yëpp ba mu jeex.
suñu alal soxla nañ ñu ko delloo ñu dem dëkkaat comme ni ñu dëkkaatu suñu alal moom du daal suñu live comme ni ñu ko luwaa joxe loolu daal mooy li nga xam ne lañ bëgg.
attekat bi atte lii ci high court lañ ko atte wala fan lañ ko atte.
ñu ngi àttee ci high court site bu mag bi.
waaw Gambie.
Freedom to return to their homes, gather in worship, and maintain their beliefs without discrimination. That's the groundbreaking High Court ruling ending 11 years of state-sanctioned restrictions for followers of late Upper Salem scholar Sheikh Muhammad Habibu Seka, widely called Ndigal. We are a small pastoral community devoted to the ways and teachings of our spiritual leader, whose legacy was almost destroyed. Kermud Ali, resident and compound owner Yunusa Sise, told GRTS and recounted how their homes were forcibly taken and their beliefs outlawed by police under the Jammeh administration. Delivering a marathon judgment at the High Court, Justice Aminata Sahwa Sise underscored that free will and individual liberties are guaranteed by the Gambian Constitution, whilst outlining an 8-point injunction that orders homeowners from the village to return home and further restrains the Attorney General from preventing them from accessing their homes.
Court bi dañ wax ne ñoo win ñu jox ñu suñ kay ne ñoo win waaye ba tey mënuñoo dem fële.
Government, instead of anything, have sent some paramilitary officers to be stationed and protect the illegal occupants of our properties. Now that is gross injustice. Rather than them giving us our properties and protecting us, they are now protecting the unlawful occupants who are occupying our properties.
kon nag moo wax ci xibaaru Gambie lu ma xam la ci lu ma sawar la lu ma war la itam su ma ko defee lu ma war la ndax bis bii ma taxaw man lii laa doon xaar bis ni tey
tidde seedino saare bojo malaria
sabu jimara fof leydi jimara ni fof i waasi geɗe mumen kono ko enen saare bojo ɗo ɓuuri enen en ngala l'hôpital en ngala laawol luumo ngo iɗo hay batuwar o ko si dawaɗ ɗi metti a mbewa adde hirse ɗo mbaalu adde hirse ɗo te ilol si ari han ko moɓa en feren ɗum fof iɗo hay hunde ala ko gollana
ha na loptanoji ɓe ɓe bata bunda to kato loptano ni nga musu ko do ma sota suto lan tella jang no so kilin nabi jang ni nga nato no so ni ya asafo bor tabulu ata hani musu ko do ma ni jubel
minen tundu sare bojo do min jaha ko yata guluje 50 neddo do e der tundu he siko ko do min gonni ko do woni l'hôpital amen non e hay he hel police o ko haali ko e wonde man tunduti o ngari ha on kebi o happu yimbe on di pota wallede l'hôpital minen tundu sare bojo ha hande min kebani l'hôpital
min ko Amadou Mbalo mbitemi sare bojo e village health worker ko min woni no sare o do hande do sare bojo do bot onon fof mi sikki haydal wigol do inde amin ko mi Amadou Mbalo hen der sare bojo ko mi nos di hersini kam sa lebgol do aduna fof di yi'a kam because ko hodum sabi dum so on ji structure do gommi do jodi mi do hen der office amo o wattu do l'hôpital yel am do dum woni dispensary dal so on dartinima suudu ndu ha min do jodi mi do he structure der on wa'ini han dum di hulbini di hersini di hawni
sato watujo talan pula suuto wado talan saba suuto wado talan nan moto soto ngata sare tiyolle noma nga musukono ma nyum bulande wado nimbitala musukono ma nyin ase wulum bulu siloka wado ase bata
sare bojo ala l'hôpital ala do o l'hôpital larton do o he o tele o l'hôpital ko e laamu jawara mo fewnado te si andari han do dari mi do ko e sera ndiyam dari mi lawol hakkundo e sare man so sa hebi do debore do dum ko problème
den sare bojo janna bata da warta bake biri president ya jammela wato itella ja ya jamme natale ja emitino ken nani soto koto ja akabe ma ko la silola be ma ko ra kuranal
teminen gil ya jamme lami minen ala ko min kebi to sengo man sakunda min dogi ha min ngodi hay dara min kebane sengo man sakunda
sabunite andari e tundu sare bojo ko min jobata tan he lempo ta andari tundu sare bojo business peut-être sare bojo do ko nattinta he der laamu e ta sare bojo ala lawol mojjol ala l'hôpital mojjo e minen dum na jakili minen ko hoɗum woni dalila laamu ngu waɗi minen ni e te wona wondema min topitaki ko laamu ngu wi ko min ɗi joɓa lempo min ɗi mbaɗa ko kala ɓe jangi siko ko ɓe mbaɗanani minen ko foti wadde ko
jada kende abunda molɓe lattude lafta loptano la ala yak alnala kiila ala molde ma loptano bata min ɓe mol kan fala siwo bata bondi mol kan kato mol batata sara bojo dimbal beele batata
My names are Alhaji L.S. Sonko. I started working for the Gambian judiciary in 1990. I was unlawfully dismissed in 2009. This was after a letter was written to the office of the president that we, the staff out at the Sheriff's Division, misappropriated $9 million. When the investigation was mounted, it was discovered that the story was not true because of the entire amount that was involved. All the monies were lying at the accounts office. When the superintendent investigated the matter and discovered the story to be untrue, he called in the then Chief Justice and the then Sheriff who wrote to the office of the president and obtained statements from them in readiness for charging them for giving false information to the office of the president. And because of that, the thing was aggravated because it was either them or us. I was being accused of misappropriating about 2.5 million because what they did was me and the 5 other accused persons, they shared the $9 million between us. And then I was remanded into prison custody. Economic crimes was added onto the charges so that the matter can be transferred to the High Court. We went to court for about 2 years, during which all the witnesses spoke, gave their evidence, but none of them named me. One day, at around 11:35 p.m. at night, when I got a text message from my lawyer to the effect that the case is withdrawn.
The pensioners' problem with Social Security emanates from the erosion of the institutional strength of Social Security. Social Security over the years has been weakened to a level that the president actually does whatever he wants with the institution, and therefore the capacity to deliver the service that they're supposed to deliver to the contributors of the funds was catastrophically reduced.
Man am na ci ñun am na ci jafe-jafe ñun pensionnaires yi ñun Social Security pensionnaires yi am nañ ci jafe-jafe jafe-jafe biñ ci am mooy ne dañ di am every 3 years increment boo xam ne dañu ko joxe from UK muy ñëw pour ci ñun ñu ko dimbale so receive nañ ko ñaari yoon but the third time bi mu ñëwee waa ji amuñ ko Jammeh daf ko jël yaay Jammeh daf ko jël.
He takes them out according to what he wants and do with the funds as he wishes. But you know, at the time, whatever prevails, prevails. The institutions are, none of them, I don't think any of them were working, just like Social Security. So the pensioners and contributors of the funds of the Social Security they don't even know. So they don't even know. And the people who are supposed to represent them are not even there.
When this new government of His Excellency President Adama Barrow came into office, there was an announcement to the effect that all people who were unlawfully dismissed with presidential intervention should take their matters to the office of the Personnel Management Office, which I did with my other colleagues because we were 6 in number. I discovered that they were all paid their monies. Those who want to come back to the job were reinstated and given their positions back and paid for all the period they sat down and they started working. One of my co-accused is a current High Court judge. One is a magistrate at the High Court. Another one, the then Judiciary Secretary, is now working in the office of the Chief Justice. It is only me, Sonko, who is left in the lodge. I was dismissed, and that bars me from holding any elective office in the Gambia, and it bars me too from getting back into the public service. And that's terrible. It means I cannot stand for any elective office in this country. And if I have any ambition, it means I have to sell it. They got reinstated, got their monies to eat it, and they are working and being paid a salary. And I've been sitting down at home for the past, in October it shall be 10 years, and I'm the father of 6. With my wife, my children, we are living here in Esau, in total penury, suffering, immutably, and without end, and without change. Where is justice? Where is justice gone? Who murdered justice? Because if justice exists, this should not happen.
Minen caamennaɓe farongo ko ngon woni guure amen faro amen ngo noon joni farongo boni
sabu ko ngol min liggotono min keɓa ko min guuri
haɗa naywi haɗa horti haɗa daso a wawa jooɗo sabu a ala ɗo gurɗa sona ka ndema maɗa haɗa woni babowo sa waabi a yahat ɓiɗɗo ma o ngara tegatamo ko to dow waare to sabu sona ɗum o yoloto kaɓɓa pour ha lumita ɗum fof ko yidde ko wuuri min wuura ɓesguli amen ko ɗum wanni min ɗum
waɗi jamanu minen min meeɗa fogda ko min coodat saku maaro ta min ganda ko saku maaro jarata faro amen gomin liggotonogo on jamanu ta ngo yakkaki hongo jagui hande noon faro ngo boni min ngala lawol ndiyam ɗam yakki faro ngo jakke ɗe jakki faro ngo min jiiɗi wallede min keɓa lawol
Yaya Jammeh arno chef amen o wullitimo wonde no miɗen jiiɗi liggane lawol amen faro ngol o jambitinanimo ngol o jambitinanimo ngol o wimbo eyi minne miɗo toon yiiɗi faro o wimbo eyi sa ari tan a heɓat
miɗen jinno liggane lawol président Yaya Jammeh mi okkimo ɗo 300 hectares yo o liggano min lawol
ɓe ngari ɓe gaddi tarattoji ɓe naɓi leydi ɓe naɓi kaaƴe jonte ɗiɗi jonte tati ɓe mbi heɓe jaha ɓe gadda liggotoɓe ha hande ko ɗum hendu ndu yadata
ha ɓoye min jeeya ko corruption gonɗo e laamu e ko ɗum takata ha laawol ngol yahani project batindiɗo ɗo ar 2014 2015 project nemo ɓe ngari ɓe puɗɗi ɗo ɓe jahani ɗo ko ɓuuri 10 kilométres sa ɓe dari.
My name is Mamadou Cham. I'm a born citizen of the Gambia and a born citizen of my own village, Chairman. Talking about the corruption on the educational side, as a professional teacher, I have little thing to say about the corruption of the 22 years of Yaya Jammeh's regime in this country. He would send out, officials to go around the school and see whether the money is executed on party issue or whatever. We are never mandated to use the money to build classes. We are never mandated to use the money to, buy books on whatever. So now looking at it, where you have a student, a grade 9 student who cannot read a letter. You look at a grade 12 student who cannot read a letter. And before his regime, we have some people at Form 1, 2 who were able to read very well. And that's why we have this mass movement of people outside the country. Because you graduate from a senior secondary school, you don't have any good results. So what are you going to do in the country?
Min ngari gaynum pour tertade mbo. Waɗi dariɓe toon ɓe mbimo mi yakki leydi ndi faro ngo mi liggaki ngo mi haɗi ngo yimɓe.
te minen ɗo Chairman ɗo miɗen ɗo jogino groupe aji ɗi ganduɗa waktu fof waktu ɓe ndemoyananno
minen laamu Yaya Jammeh ko caɗele te o immotono o wiya faraji makko kanillahi ko baydoloɓe liggantomo a suusa wasiya sa wiyama ka jahowo a suusa wasiya ko mba jaaha te sa yeehi liggagol ngol ala foftagol de si wona a jippo soldaroɓe na ndewi hema paraɓe na ndewi hema ko a liggotoɗo tan a foftotako
ndemiranannombo ko ha ñani dia heɓa ɓamtare kono nden ɓamtare heɓaki e ñani dia maɓɓe remoyannoɓe ɓe ɓeydi tardu
o noddi noon enaye kañum e governor o wi joni jeehe mbaɗo e mbe ares ko dalilu hombo taki hombo haɗa yimɓeɓe faro ngo te makko o yaha o liggaki faro ngo
ɓe ngari ɓe gaddi tarattoji ɓe naɓi leydi ɓe naɓi kaaƴe jonte ɗiɗi jonte tati ɓe mbi heɓe jaha ɓe gadda liggotoɓe.
Where we should be in the class to learn, he took us out in the class lessons and go and stand on the highway or go and walk onto his farm. Everybody was run away to work for Yaya Jammeh but not work for the country. This is the problem. This is the problem.
The government was brought in because of the plight of the victims, but the government seems to have forgotten about the victims of Yaya Jammeh. And it was because of victimization and the suffering Gambians went through on the Yaya Jammeh that people decided to vote him out of office and bring in somebody who would take care of us.
When it comes to the new Gambia, I'm not seeing any changes. I see the only one changes, and he's the former president. And apart from that, no, nothing has been changed because things are still the same.
Corruption was the reason why those people are illegally occupying our properties as of now. And it is that same corruption which we believe is still keeping them in that place. And in the present regime now, we don't think that corruption should have a real space in this new regime if we want to move forward.
So we are calling on him to do the proper reform which we need. Security sector reform, judiciary reform, civil society everywhere so that the nation should be transformed. We are looking for a better Gambia. A better Gambia after him.